Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jan Kelstra and I'm a dairy farmer from Saskatchewan, Canada. We milk about 300 cows. It's been a long while since I've made just a good basic milking video, so that's what we're going to be doing this afternoon. I'm going to start by putting the milk line in the milk tank and taking the milkers out of their wash trays. The pre-milking sanitized wash cycle just finished up, so that is a cycle that automatically goes right before we start milking, goes through all the lines, and it's kind of just the last little rinse before we actually start milking, just to make sure the lines are nice and clean. This is our milk tank. It is about 30,000 liters or 8,000 gallons. And we got to switch that milk line from there to there. See, there's a bunch of water shooting out of here right now, and that's the wash water stuck in the line still. So we're just gonna let that drain out. So now the milk tank is hooked up to the milk line. Right now we got our milk claws on their wash trays. This is what actually puts the wash water through the milk claw, so we got to take those off. And we're milking with Miriam this afternoon. Yep. How's it going? Good. It's good. Now we're gonna put the brains of the Parlour into milk mode. It's currently in wash mode, so we just gotta hit F1 enter. That's gonna show us a 2, and that means it's in session 2. So we milk cows twice a day here. If we were milking 3 times a day, it would show a 3 there for our 3rd sessions. We're also gonna flush the holding area. We do this just to wet it down, and it looks like it gets grippier for the cows. Last thing we gotta do is click milk and turn our automatic dipping and flushing milk claws on. This afternoon shift, we start at 3:45 in the afternoon. That's when we're hanging cows under, and in the morning it's around 4:15. So we start a little bit earlier in the afternoon, and that's just so we can get done a bit earlier at night so that we're not getting home at 8 every time. Sometimes still happens. The goal is to be home at about 7:30 and be done milking good on time. And that puts our milk time for 340 cows around 3.5 hours to 4 hours with all the cleaning included. That's startup, and then we're turning the lights off when we leave. That's how long it usually takes. Real quick, I'm using a new camera for this video, and I want to hear what you guys think about it, so just leave it in the comments down below if you like it or not. And I think those cows are pretty much here. Those are the first ladies from group 1. This lady right here, 605, she's always one of the first cows in the Parlour. How's it going, lady? Parlour's right there, girls. They're not gonna go in with me standing here, so I'm gonna go down, get some milker gloves, and wait for them. Come on. Just closes the gates on the back. It's a very slow moving gate. Our prep routine on our farm is pretty simple. We just grab a towel, wipe the teats clean, then we will strip each quarter, make sure the milk is good, and then we'll hang that milker on. We'll clean 6, and then we'll go back, hang 6 under, and then we'll clean the next 6 and hang the next 6 under. The reason for that is because we want about 90 seconds between cleaning and stripping, and then 90 seconds to hang the milker under. That just allows the cow to let her milk drop by the time we hang that milker under. So we grab our 6 towels. This lady's already letting her milk go. It's good, that means she wants to be milked. Teats are clean. The reason why we are stripping those teats is just to make sure that the cow does not have mastitis. And the only way to check for that is, of course, to strip her teats before you hang the milker under. Okay, we got our first 6 cows cleaned, stripped, ready to be hung under. So we hit the up arrow. That lifts our milkers, and the way you activate them, turn them on, is you just gotta lift up and it turns the suction on. We're gonna hang this under. This is the ladies up top while they're being milked. They kind of just stare at this wall, and when they are done, those gates will just go straight up. They'll walk straight off. Since we got the first 2 lines hung under, we're gonna head down to the basement and make sure everything's going good down there. Make sure there's no milk spilling on the ground. This is our basement. It's got all of the milking equipment for the parlor just underneath the basement. It's kind of an option. You can put them in a basement or you can put them in cabinets underneath the parlor upstairs, and that doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. It's just if you put it in a basement, it's going to stay drier and cleaner and hopefully last longer. So that's the goal. It also declutters your parlor pretty good. You have less stuff up there while you're trying to milk cows. This is our receiver jar and the filter, plate cooler, milk pump. We always just come down here at the beginning of every milking, make sure it is all going good. Sometimes this clamp can be a little bit loose, milk can be spilling beside, but this is looking excellent, so we'll head back up. We got a cow here in the parlor with red bands on, and that's because she's been treated with antibiotics. We got to make sure we pull her milk to the side to make sure it doesn't get into the bulk tank. The way we do that, we use a can, and that just diverts all the milk into this can. So we got to switch those lines around. Now you can see, instead of this blue line going into the wall, it goes into this can, and the vacuum is still hooked up to the can with that clear line. after those cows are hung under, they're typically milking for about 6 minutes and 15 seconds. It's kind of our average. It depends how many times a day you're milking. If you're milking 3 times a day, it will be less time on there. But once the cows are done being milked, there's an automatic takeoff feature. I put some cows in manual mode though, so I can show you our automatic dipping and flushing milk claw. Once the claw does come off, it automatically applies a post-dip of iodine solution, and that's a disinfectant, coats the teats in iodine, and it prevents the cows from getting any infections when they go back in the barn. When a cow's done being milked, the end of her teats are pretty open, and this is to protect those teat ends and make sure they are not going to let any bacteria in when they go back to the barn. I made a video a very long time ago of milking cows. A lot of people in the comments thought it was blood on the teats. That is the iodine. I want to be very clear about that. And the other half of the name of this milk claw is the auto flushing. So it's auto dipping and auto flushing. When that claw comes off, it does back flush and clean the inside of this milk claw. None of the iodine will ever make it into the milk line, even though it is sprayed in the claw, because it takes the signal from the vacuum being shut off to signal that iodine to be sprayed onto the cow's teats. And then it comes down, and out of the same nozzle in the claw here, it cleans and rinses the inside of the claw out. There it is. So in there you can see there's a little white nozzle, and that's what actually does the spraying of the iodine. So after the iodine is sprayed on the cow's teats, it goes ahead and back flushes that claw and cleans it out in between each cow. So this is that divert milk from the cow that had penicillin in her milk. And we just have a separate hose at the back corner of our parlor. We stick it in there, it sucks it out, and it pumps it straight to our pasteurizer, where we can then feed it to our calves. The milk is still perfectly good. We just cannot ship milk with antibiotics in here. It's one of the quality guarantees we have here in Canada. When you buy milk in the grocery store, it's not going to have any antibiotics in there. It's still perfectly fine to feed to calves, so we save that and we give it to the calves. It's kind of like saving a bit of money for us dairy farmers instead of buying milk replacer. Let another line go. Come on, ladies. Let's go. Of course, with cows comes manure. Got a couple of hoses on each side of the parlor. We just try to keep it as clean as possible during milking time. You guys drink the milk at the store. I drink the milk straight out of the tank, so I want to make sure it's good as well. We've now put a few lines of cows through the milk parlor. Now we got to turn the cooling on in our milk tank. We never want to turn it on when it's completely empty. Got to turn it on when there's a little bit of milk in there. Otherwise it will ice up that bottom bit of milk in the tank. So we just come to our milk tank and we click cool. And it'll start cooling right away. You can see the milk's at 10 degrees Celsius right now. It'll bring it right down to 1 or 2 degrees Celsius. Our holding area holds about 135 cows or so. With the 24 in the parlor, that puts us over 150 cows. It's also got a crowd gate at the back. And we got the controls here, so I just click forward and it follows the cows up as they walk into the parlor. What's going on? Oh. Our tame girl in the barn, Cheetah. There she goes. This last cow is a 3-teater, so we just have a plug that goes in the one milker and plugs it off. I think her quarter got stepped on years ago, just quit producing milk. Kind of unfortunate. That is our Cheetah, same lady. This is the last line from group 1, and now I'm gonna go grab group 2. We're just gonna send the crowd gate back with the buttons here. We also flush the holding area again in between groups. We're now in group 2, and we just moved a few gates. As we're gonna be grabbing these ladies up, we are going to be raking the beds. I got the rake here, so we're just gonna be raking manure out of the beds. And if there's any milk, sometimes cows will leak a bit of milk in the beds because their udders are so full. So we're just trying to make sure that all the organic material stays out of those beds. That's our last cow from group 2. We got to get her in. She's trying to hide from me, it looks like, in the fog. Sneaky bugger. Let's go, lady. She's a young heifer. Only been milked a few times yet. But she figures out where she needs to go. We're now gonna grab our skid steer, grab the tire scraper, and then we're gonna clean the alleys. We do this twice a day, just like milking. Every milking, the cows leave into the holding area. We grab the skid steer and we clean these alleys. The barn does have automatic ventilation, so when it gets too hot in here, it just dumps a bunch of cold air in, and that's why it gets foggy, sometimes more than others. I still get the question, how do these barns get heated in the winter? And it is all cow heat, so there's no natural gas heaters or electric heaters in this entire freestall barn or the Parlour barn. It's just pure cow heat. This is the group that we're gonna be scraping. Our sand room is over there. In the summertime, I will just open the overhead doors from the sand room and this drive-through alley, just drive straight into the group. But when it's really cold, we wanna just use these doors the least amount as possible. They're kind of a liability. So for when it is so cold, we got the gates we can just move in group 1 here, which gives us access straight to the sand room. And then we can grab the bobcat, drive straight through, and skip the overhead doors. All done scraping this group. The alleys are clean. The beds are rotor tilled or bed busted, ready for cows. So we're gonna let them back into their group. Those cows are gonna start to bring more heat into this barn, and then the fog will tame down a little bit. All done milking now. The Parlour is still in milking mode, so we gotta switch it over to wash mode, and then after we're gonna clean the Parlour off. First thing we always do to get this thing into wash mode is put all the milkers on the wash trays. So these are just folded up at the beginning of milking. When we take them off, we just pull them down again. Drop the milkers on there, and that allows the wash water to cycle through each and every single milk claw. Got all the milkers on the wash trays. Now we head down to the basement to change the filter. So we're down here. This is the milk filter tube, but we first need to empty the receiver jar. So we're gonna pump this down. It always stops pumping at about here, starts when it gets over that, and it won't let it get to here. So it just runs the motor in here, shuts it off when it gets down to here. At the end of milking, you wanna get all of that milk down and up to your bulk tank. So we gotta manually pump it, just with the switch. And that turns on this electric motor. I don't know if you guys can actually see in there, but that's the inside of the receiver jar. And we can see it's empty now. Now we're just gonna take this milk filter out, put a new clean one in. Definitely some stuff on there today. Back in the parlor, we're gonna click F2 enter now, which puts the parlor into wash mode. At the beginning, we clicked F1 enter, that puts it into milking mode, so we'll go ahead and do that. You can hear it's opened some valves in the basement, and that opens things up to the wash line. Now we're gonna go turn all the pumps and stuff off. Close the valve to the milk tank. Quickly check, okay, our milk's at 2 degrees Celsius, cooling's working. Now we're gonna take that milk line, bring it down to the wash line. It's worth crying about if it's Canadian milk. Now we can click wash. The moment we click wash on that control box for the parlor, it starts filling our wash vat with water, and then it'll add chemicals into the wash vat. This is it right here. You can see it's got some steamy hot water. I believe this is like 55 gallons, maybe 100. It's a decent sized wash vat. I don't know exactly how much goes in there. And then it fills it up with chemicals as it needs. It'll run through a number of different wash cycles, a detergent cycle, chlorine, acid, and all these things combined make sure that the insides of those pipes are the cleanest thing on this entire farm. Now we gotta clean our parlor. We always start by flushing the decks and the holding area. There's a couple of buttons at the front of the parlor that activate them. This is all recycled manure water from a pit at the back of this barn. And it just goes all the way down to a slot at the back of the holding area. Now all we gotta do is grab that fire hose up there and start cleaning. I still gotta wash these milkers off. They're a bit dirty. I just want to show you guys the wash water going through. See that pretty clearly? They're steaming because it's hot water. You can feel these things are pretty warm. And now for the most rewarding part of the day, turning the lights off. Well guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I want to give a quick shout out to a viewer by the name of Casey Wright. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. Check out the Instagram at Sk Dutch Kid. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.